Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another review. Today we are reviewing Weezer's Blue album, the Deluxe Edition. So it's our biggest one so far, basically two albums in one. So it's 24 tracks in total. So as I was the first to, sorry, not the first, as I was the one that picked Weezer, I will go ahead and give my opinion on the album. So I think it's fair to say it's the first time I probably ever listened to Weezer. Certainly didn't know any of the songs on the album previously. I went in with a very open mind, hoping I'd like it, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. I didn't like the album at all, if I'm perfectly honest. In general, I found it to be too heavy for my ears. I have to give my ears a good wash now because there was too much going on in terms of the instrumental, too heavy drums or electric guitar, whatever. Didn't particularly like the singing voices either. So I have to say I was disappointed with the album. Now, there were certain tracks that were better than others, no question about that. But there wasn't one song that I could actually say I liked. I haven't been able to download any songs, to my playlist, unfortunately. So Brett, what about you?
I'm the complete opposite. I'm probably getting a reputation now. We've already done a few of these where I seem to like everything. What's Brett not going to like? But I am very tolerable with music. I will give all music a chance and stuff. But again, this is probably more on my spectrum than it is on your one. So I do get and understand that as well. I have been quite fortunate with the ones we've been doing so far. I did really like the album. I agree with you saying there were probably ones where probably a bit too bad. It wasn't like it was, really hard rock in any way. It was, in my opinion, quite listenable to. It's very difficult because when you're sort of sitting there having to try and listen to the album and be critical about it, you could look at it in different ways and probably not enjoy it like how you might do. So I did find there was 5 songs in total, which what I did for this particular album, I did a bit of a grading system. So I had sort of an A grade, B grade, C grade, and if it was needed, a D grade. So A grade being my sort of top songs, favorite songs from that. B's then obviously a little bit below that. C's were kind of sort of listenable, probably might have needed more time or wasn't as good as obviously the other one. And then D was just an absolutely no go. So I didn't actually have any D tracks on the album. And like I said, I had 5 what I'd call A grade tracks in my mind there.
Well, can I just say something? I cannot believe you did not have a D track because there's one song on there that was awful. We'll get to it once we start looking at each individual song. I cannot believe you could possibly like that in any shape or form, but I don't know, we're all different.
I'd say there's a few C's on there.
Hopefully it's a C at least. Sure, there's got to be a C.
But this is maybe where we finally sort of really differ on those side of things. Like it felt very sort of Blink-182 to me.
It felt nothing like Blink-182. I like Blink-182.
That's why I was so surprised that you were a little bit different in that sense. What else was I going to try and say? But to me, though, it wasn't like it was, and you did mention before, it wasn't like all, can't really call it sort of that rocky, I suppose, but there were sort of, a bit of some slower songs that weren't all just very much the same.
I think it's been described by some people as kind of like geek rock or something. I can imagine this. Yeah. I can imagine this kind of being popular. Obviously, this is from the 90s, mid 90s. Kind of, like how you go to like in America, you go to someone's house party, big house, they're drinking all this beer from those, what you got, those plastic cup things, and you could imagine this music rocking, being played, very popular with kind of teenagers at the time, sort of that sort of music.
It definitely felt sort of mid 90s American. And just before we go into a bit more on the album, so I was surprised that said, because obviously I heard Weezer, I knew the one song Buddy Holly, but then it was out of curiosity, well, why? Because I was probably maybe I enjoyed more because I was having low expectations. I tried to put no expectations. Maybe thought, oh well, not really heard much of the other stuff. Obviously, they weren't that good. But it turns out I've had loads of albums. What was really interesting is that they've never really, and you'll probably agree why that was the case, never really actually had any real hits. And I thought, oh, not just in the UK, because maybe in the UK at that point we were probably more in that sort of period into sort of our Blur and Oasis, more Britpop, and this just sort of just didn't take off here. But even in America, like I think they had one or two just top 10 hits in America, yet they've had about like 15 albums. So it's probably, there's a bit of maybe more of a cult following for where maybe it's a bit more unique, and obviously they got a great following somehow, and I can see why. I'd say I did enjoy the album. I was just so surprised when I was looking up and just seeing no hits anywhere in the world, even in America, apart from like the alternative US charts, which we don't really sort of count there.
Okay, it's interesting. I hadn't actually looked into that. Another thing I would say in general about Weezer, something that I learned about them, or I'd read on a forum, I think on Reddit, was that I think I was looking up Weezer to find out what groups they're similar to, and someone said they're very unique in that every album they produce has a different style. Obviously, it's still that kind of rocky style, but I mean, yeah, kind of just different each album, which I like. Not that I've listened to any of the other albums, but I do like the fact that they kind of do, well, apparently, have variations in their style. So even though I didn't like listening to them, I still wouldn't actually mind listening to another album that maybe is a slightly different style.
Yeah, it's a good point, because again on Wikipedia, when we first found out and we looked at the different artists they were associated to, hadn't heard of any of those artists at all. And I can imagine it's interesting, obviously, with this being their very first album, you could probably look at two ways. Is it going to be one of their better albums? Is this when they're at their prime, or does it get better? Do they have a peak? Does it? So be interesting to know. But quite interesting what you said about actually, with a lot of the albums, they're actually quite experimental in their mind and all a little bit different. So it would be interesting. I would say I would like to listen to probably more Weezer in the future.
Okay. So yeah, I have made a list of songs, all the songs I've got down here, and some notes. So look, I didn't like any of them as such, so I don't have too much to say. But there are some interesting points here as well. So I'll quickly go through the list. Now, Brett, if you want to stop me at any time and add something in about your thoughts as well, then please do.
Yeah, I might just take my grades, make it a little bit easier as well. And if there's anything added to it, I'll say. Okay.
So the first song, My Name is Jonas, I put down guitar and drum heavy, which was a major theme, but I did put okay. I will just say a little bit about this song. I didn't mind this song. This was obviously the first song that came on, and it was quite a good first impression I had. I didn't like it enough for me to kind of want to download it, but it was all right. So I was kind of hopeful that the album would be good.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It was an all right start there. I actually grade this as a C grade song. But I said it was okay. Yeah, sort of set the tone really.
And then No One Else for me again was too heavy. Didn't like it. The World Has Turned and Left Me Here, again, too much guitar and drums. Again, it's the same theme for me. It's just too loud, I know, for me. Buddy Holly. Yeah.
So I just going to say, with No One Else, I put that sort of as a B grade, but then I know it appears on the next album. We'll get onto that shortly. The World Has Turned, that was actually my favourite song on both the albums there, really. It's weird because it did seem quite a bit. At the same time, it also didn't as well. It wasn't like it was that all the way through the song. I don't know, maybe just hit a right chord with me at the right time when I was listening to it. And that was my favourite. And then you're about to say Buddy Holly. I put it as a B+. Again, it's probably what you have with the Florence, the last album we did, maybe because I recognised it. It was easier to listen to and enjoy. So gave it a little bit of extra B+ as a little extra there.
Okay. Undone the Sweater song, I put just background voices. I just found it a bit weird. That's all I remember from that, background voices. But I think I will come back to that song on the second album, second part, because it was a live version of that. I made some more notes on that one.
Cool, I gave that a C grade.
Okay. Surf Wax America, too much guitar and drums again, slow singing part in the middle. And I read on like YouTube comments, they're kind of trying to take after the Beach Boys in that song or something.
That's what I sensed that as well. I gave it an A for that one. I enjoyed that one there. And that's probably what I was thinking more. It could be like a bit like Blink-182 in that sense. But I know you obviously will heavily disagree a lot with that.
Yeah, I mean, well, we won't go into Blink-182, but yeah, I didn't think it was like Blink-182. Say It Ain't So, I put calm with a heavy chorus. So generally, that song was easy to listen to, but then the chorus was too heavy for me.
So yeah, just gave that a B grade for that.
Okay, in the garage, I put better, and this song I did actually listen to for a second time, kind of hopeful I might want to download it, but didn't do enough for me. But still definitely one of the better songs for me.
Yeah, I gave that a B grade from that one as well.
Holiday, there was a slow talking part. I just wrote it down, but didn't really like it.
Okay, and I gave that a B. I found just quite similar to In the Age Along, those same sort of similar songs.
Okay. Interesting one next. I don't know if you've got anything to say about this one, but Only in Dreams was the longest track on the album. So it had a nice long instrumental start. I think the last 3 minutes were instrumental on its own. And I just put a nice way to end the album. It wasn't the end for us because we were listening to the next part, but yeah, but I still didn't particularly like it as such, but kind of respected it, should we say.
Yeah, I actually again really like this one. I gave this an A. This was my third one on this particular disc of the album. Again, I think I agree with you. It was a nice way to end it. I think didn't necessarily need the 3 minutes riff of guitar at the end, but actually probably made the song what it was. And that was my third favorite song on the on that disc.
Okay, so then we moved on to the second disc, which I think it's like B-sides. So the first one,
I think just before we go into that as well, I think there's also the other title of it, Dusty Gems and Raw Nuggets, which I actually thought was quite clever as because obviously they're B tracks and also hidden gems. Well, they call it Dusty Gems in that sense. But unheard songs.
Nice name. So Mikkel and Carly, I put instruments louder than voices, so didn't like that.
Yeah, again, just gave that C for that one.
Okay. Then we had Suzanne remix. So Suzanne, we hadn't had that previously, had we?
No.
So I don't know what I put same as previous. I presume I mean the same as the previous song, Mikkel and Carly. So instruments louder than voices, maybe. But I don't know.
It was quite. Yeah, I think it was definitely more tolerable. I mean, I gave this a B grade. It's definitely more tolerable than the first one, but yeah, I think it was just classic.
Well, I'll be interested.
Girl song, mid-90s, talk about it.
Because I'm going to be interested to know what you think about the next one. So it's called My Everline. It was a 44-second song, and I just put pointless. Why do they do this? What is the point of it? Just a 44-second song. It's actually probably one of the better ones, to be honest.
Can't go against it because of the time frame. Yeah, I liked it. I agree with you. You could argue a bit pointless, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's obviously a tribute to, I don't know what you call that style of music, that sort of, I'm just going to say like 50s style. What's the word? Like just using your voice, no instruments. You just have your voice for Alan Peck. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, and I think for that reason, no instruments, probably the reason why I liked it more than the others. Okay, Jamie, I wrote down better than most. So again, I didn't like it, but compared to the others, it was one of the better ones.
Oh yeah, great. I actually originally put this as a C grade song. I liked it. However, it does appear a little bit later on in the album.
Yeah. as the acoustic version. We'll talk about that shortly. Yeah.
Yeah.
My Name Is Jonas, the live version. I wrote down I preferred the non-live version because My Name Is Jonas was, I think, was the first song on the first disc, right? And I said that one was all right. So yeah, it was all right.
Same. I just had the same sort of views on it.
Yeah.
Both. I think maybe the live was ever so slightly better, but not enough to really differentiate me there.
Okay. Then Surf Wax America again with the live version. I just put same as album version, but with fans' voices.
Yeah, that's a good way of explaining it there. I sort of put it as a B plus. I don't prefer the original one, but again, a bit like with My Name, just the difference with fans listening in the background, really.
Okay. Now this was the first time in the album I actually had some hope because the next song was an acoustic, so that meant it wasn't going to be, too loud for me, just the guitar. And it was Jamie. Jamie, as I previously just said a few minutes ago, that was better. That was one of my better songs that I liked. So I was quite hopeful for this. However, I wasn't overly in awe with it. I just put down don't like the high-pitched chorus because I think this is where we can kind of, when it's an acoustic, you can really kind of hear how they sing. I don't like how they sing. It was still okay, better than most of the others, but yeah, I was a bit more hopeful for that one, but it didn't quite happen for me, I don't think.
Okay. I gave this an A grade for that. Again, whether it's because I then heard the first version just before and then subconsciously maybe recognized it a little bit. But that's when I actually really, really liked that one. It's probably my favorite. Would have been the favorite one there? Maybe so, yeah. But actually really, really, really like that one.
Okay. I can see why, but yeah. The next one is another acoustic, No One Else. So that again, I think that's one we previously had, wasn't it? On the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the version was a little bit different, and as a result, I actually then put this as an A grade one. So it's the second one I enjoyed on this particular disc of the album. Again, whether because maybe I recognised a little bit from the first album, again has a positive effect. I don't know, but definitely preferred it more in the live version than the original one.
Yeah, I also preferred it. I did put down better than the album version. Now, I can't remember what the album version was like, but I know I didn't like the album version, and I thought listening to this, it was actually all right.
Yeah, I think maybe the album one was a little bit more, maybe always a bit loud, a bit more rockier, whilst I think the live one wasn't acoustic as such, but it just felt toned down a little bit. You could appreciate the song and take more for the lyrics and everything like that.
Okay. Then we had Undone the Sweater song, demo version. I didn't remember going back to the original on the album. Just looking at my notes here. Yeah, I don't mind that one, but on this particular one, I put down what's going on in the background. There was some background noise, but I did put down quite good. I didn't actually mind this one, to be honest.
Yeah. Again, I put it as a C grade, but I definitely did like it. I don't know which way you were listening. So I was listening on YouTube, and it did mention that it had in brackets called kitchen tapes, which were the same for a couple of songs, and they were like from like 1992. So I think maybe the background was literally just them doing this for the very first time. Well, less saying in their kitchen, but not in like a professional studio, probably.
Yeah, I see. Okay. I'm just thinking maybe I might listen to that one more time, give it one more chance. But I'd be surprised if I end up downloading that. Very surprised, but just give it another go maybe. Next one was Paperface. I wrote down awful chorus. Shouting, they were literally shouting Paperface in the chorus, but it was slow in the middle. And this isn't the one where I said to you earlier, you've got to give it. You can't believe you haven't given it a D grade. That one's still to come, but this one.
I think I know what that one might be potentially. But I initially thought maybe this may have been that one. again, maybe at this point, because I've enjoyed a few of their songs already, I end up giving more benefit of the doubt. Definitely wasn't my favourites on there. I sort of went C stroke B on this one. I think maybe if it had been the first one I heard, or maybe didn't have such a positive view on Weezer, I probably may think more negative about it, because I think at this point I've actually enjoyed quite a bit of their stuff. I've given them more the benefit of the doubt, but I can see why it wouldn't be a popular one.
Okay. Only in Dreams demo. So that's that's an interesting one, because this was the demo version of that long song that we talked about earlier, which you said you liked. So I put nice and calm until the end in brackets, livened up a bit at the end, but bad singing. So I like the fact it was calm for the most part, but didn't enjoy the singing.
Yeah. Again, I generally preferred the actual original album version than this one. Again, nothing against it. Just much preferred the original one.
Okay. Lullaby for Wayne. I wrote down awful start, just so heavy, but it had a slow bit in the middle. Yeah, not for me.
Yeah. Again, I put it as a B grade. Again, I found it similar to one of the other songs. I didn't write down which one. But again, quite to a bit more rock in some sense. But actually, again, at this point, probably more tolerable for Weezer and their song. So again, giving more benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Then we had I Swear It's True. I put down another awful start, so heavy, dreadful song. I put down heavy metal question mark. It was just repeating like the same words. This is the worst song for me by well, there were a lot of bad songs, but this was awful. I mean, how you could I'm going to be interested to hear what you say about this. To me, this was heavy metal. Like, as far as I was concerned, it was hardcore. It was just awful.
I feel like maybe if we did get to listen to real, probably heavy, because again, I bet if there's heavy metal fans listening to this, probably thinking, what are you talking about? But I do get sort of where you're coming from. Again, like I said, we're not music experts at all. This is just our own views and opinions and how it is. So I can totally see. I mean, I did put it as a C grade, but like I said, maybe again, be more tolerable to Weezer. Maybe would have been a bit lower. But I said at that point, I was enjoying everything they'd been doing.
Yeah. Okay. And then Say It Ain't So. I don't know. I just put like as the track on the main album. I didn't really find a difference. Not that I was I'd listened to that Say It Ain't So a lot earlier on a previous day, so I can't remember exactly what it was like, but it seemed to be similar.
I think there was no real difference between the two, and again, gave it a B grade like I did the album one.
Yeah. Okay then. So there we go. We've gone through every track. Obviously, we were had completely different views this time. You know, that's the beauty of music. You know, people like different things. So yeah, Weezer, unfortunately, I didn't like. I regret choosing them, to be honest. Although I'm glad you enjoyed them, because to be honest, that's all.
I'm glad you chose them. I know not to get that for a Christmas present for you then.
Yeah. So just before we finish, there was the third album. It was actually a single, but I would have chosen the album. Do you remember what it was called? Remember you said you'd heard of it, but I'd never heard of that group.
Oh, that was Capital Cities, the song Comfort and Sound.
Comfort and Sound? Well, whatever it was, Capital Cities, yeah. That song I did know. I actually quite like that song. Certainly better than anything that was on the Weezer album. So I do regret not choosing that album, or even failing that. Should have gone for Red Hot Chili Peppers maybe. But look, it is what it is. And as I say, I'm glad Brett managed to enjoy the album. He's found a new band he can listen to. So that's a consolation for me, I suppose. So yeah, Brett, is there anything else you want to add before we finish?
No, I think we've pretty much covered that in depth there. I'd say maybe it might be worthwhile to find time cappers to maybe try and give a different album never listened to and see where you come from there.
Well, do you know what? We may even come across them again in these random picks. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from going for the same, group or band again, singer, just with a different album. So potentially it could happen. And if I get the time, then yeah, I may give it a go. Okay then. So that's all from us. So thanks for watching and see you soon.